Each year, Lincoln Center is the main focus of Fashion Week, when international designers and media outlets showcase the latest in fashion. But closer to home, next Thursday, the 17th, mark your calendars, at the Brooklyn Museum, a collective of fashion creatives will rip the runway BK style. It's a show called VERGE, which highlights queer and gender nonconforming designers from Brooklyn and beyond, including Lactic Incorporated from the video we just saw. So what's it all about? Let's find out from the organizers here with us today.
First, we have Winter Mendelsohn, editor-in-chief of Posture magazine, a digital and print media company that explores culture and non-binary identity through artistic practice. Welcome.
Thank you. Hi.
Dapper Q calls itself a queer style and empowerment website. Its brand ambassador, Diba Zavari, is here. And nice to see you. Looking fantastic, of course.
Thank you.
And from Brooklyn Boyhood, a collective that aims to create visibility and build community through social media and special public events, we have one of its members, Zahir Lauren, and welcome.
Pleasure.
Ladies, oh, it's so good actually to have you all here. You know, it's, coming up, Brooklyn Museum, VERGE is going to be fantastic. But first, can you tell us a little bit about each of your organizations?
Sure. So as you mentioned, I'm the editor of Posture magazine, and we feature people who are exploring identity, sexuality, and gender through their work, film, fashion, visual art, and performance as well. And we publish content online weekly, and we released our first print edition in June, just in time for Pride.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
So I'm going to open it up to you guys and find out why you want to carve out this space and partner with Winter on bringing visibility to folks who are gender nonconforming and just think outside of the box that fashion sometimes tries to stick folks in.
So I'm with Dapper Q. In December of last year, we did the first ever Brooklyn Museum collaboration. It was called Unhealed in response to the Killer Heel exhibit. And it was the first time that we were at Brooklyn Museum showing masculine of center and dandy clothing on the runway. And we had such a great experience. We had over 3,000 who had attended in total. And we thought that dandy and masculine wear was not enough to really present what queer fashion is all about, and we wanted to include other brands, and so we decided to partner together because queer fashion is all about the process and bringing in all different diverse opinions and perspectives on what clothing is all about and what style is about. So we got together and made this happen, and everyone here presents a very different perspective of the total queer community.
Zahir, you were kind enough to bring a little visual. We love gifts, so keep coming, keep bringing stuff. But you're sharing your 2015 calendar, and we said Brooklyn Boyhood, but it's Brooklyn BOI-hood.
It is. So Brooklyn Boyhood is a collaboration of gender nonconforming and trans-identified folks who are all of color, particularly Black and brown folks. And what we do is just strive for visibility and creating safe spaces for our communities to come together, to vibe, to uplift our voices. We started out doing parties that were safe spaces. Mm-hmm. We now have an anthology coming out next year that centers voices of masculine of center folks of color and trans folks of color. And so we're just trying to do whatever work possible to uplift visibility and create space for our voices. The fashion show was another opportunity to do that. And just so we all know, there's a lot of trans folks in that calendar. I don't know if folks at home can see it, but personally I identify as third gender, transmasculine, so just so we all know, no she pronouns for me. I appreciate it.
Well, I'm getting to September, and Eddie is there. You guys can see I've got us current with the month, but yeah, we've got people that look like the world that we live in for the first time on the calendar, so perhaps thank you for that. I wanted to know, I'm sorry, Aaron, but my mind is bubbling now. It's Fashion Week. And I was hard pressed the other day. I was at like a dinner and someone was saying, are there any straight designers? And we were trying to think of men in particular. And I'm like, God, I don't know an American straight designer under the age of 70 or something. Mm-hmm. So why this space to go beyond that even? Because fashion is gayer than Christmas already. So why take the extra step to bring visibility in something like VERGE, an event?
And why is now a good time for that?
Yeah.
Sure. queer fashion is, an overarching umbrella topic. Obviously, what the conversation we're having is very Western, the Western idea of that. And queer fashion is generally a term used to describe people who are outfitting themselves in a way that is questioning and pushing the gender binary, and especially a heteronormative idea of what gender roles are in society. So it's innately political, but it's also a push to feel comfortable with who you are, knowing that your biological sex does not determine your identity, and that those are two different things. And a lot of people want to make that visible to society, and do that through aesthetics, and which is why it constantly is an issue for violence and pushback, because it's reminding people that how you're born isn't who you necessarily are.
It's all made up. It's fashion.
Right.
I mean, fashion is very gay, but it's also incredibly white.
And
so that's
heteronormative.
And heteronormative. Right. So we made a real effort as a collective to make sure we bring in not just different races, but different body types. So you're not going to see 70 size zeros walking down the runway. You're going to see a variation of actual people.
Okay. Well, you sort of just alluded to my next question, is what can we expect from VERGE on September 17th at Brooklyn Museum?
Well, we've gotten together as 4 different entities that represent the diverse LGBT community, and each one of us has picked 2 designers, and you will see all 8 designers walk down the runway with a diverse representation of aesthetics that definitely cross the gender nonconformity boundaries. And you will expect an incredible show because we have worked incredibly hard together to really bring something different. It is true that on the runway we see very heteronormative looks or bodies that are very much the same or ones that we're used to. And so you will see bodies of all different shapes and sizes from different regions, generations, from different races and ethnicities represented, and clothing that you have not definitely seen before. They are first-time shown collections.
Yeah, and I've gotten a little preview through Inside Connections. I've seen some of the things that are expected, and it really is like phenomenal, like blow your mind, and stuff you can actually wear. It's not things that people are like, oh, it's so avant-garde, I look like Lady Gaga every day. So I just wonder how you guys are synthesizing all of this, bringing out the people who are pushing the envelope and the boundaries and sort of crashing that heteronormative narrative, and with great bow ties you could wear to work.
Yeah, well, the idea is to show a wide variety of perspectives. There's no true definition for what queer style is or what is queer fashion. There's no one way to interpret that. It's very personal, and it's, like I said, very political. So the goal of this collaboration, which is executively produced by Dapper Q in collaboration with us 3, just to clarify that, is to show this is how people can push the boundaries of gender. There are many ways. It's constantly changing. Mainstream commercial fashion brands incorporating androgynous and unisex looks in their line doesn't mean that mainstream is becoming queer. Queer is mainstream and queer, that's a paradoxical notion. Queer style will continue to change. It will never be in the masses. So our goal is to just bring these perspectives and to be able to inspire people when they're thinking about what can I wear that will make me comfortable or represent my identity, and how can I get creative and do that. And
you can expect a lot of energy, because this is going to be a group of folks walking down the runway that usually don't receive uplift in that way. So people who walk down the street and have people harassing them and bullying them for what they're wearing on this runway. Meanwhile, you've got hundreds, thousands, more than likely, of folks applauding you for what you're doing and for being there and for being present.
Can we talk about the notion of authenticity just for a second?
Yes.
Because you touched on this for, like, we'll send 1 or 2 of whatever the du jour down the runway now to stay current, and it's a business opportunity. But this is authentic, as you said, for people who are living their lives in a way and expressing themselves with fashion that happens every day, and it's not going to change by the season.
Yeah, so actually one of the important things also is that oftentimes the runway is very inaccessible from New York Fashion Week to the audience outside of who is actually at the event. Yeah. And so something to emphasize is that we're all about the audience, we're all about community, we're all about access. We're not creating visibility not only for the designers who are working so hard to bring queer fashion, to push the boundaries in mainstream media, but we're working really hard to give visibility to those who don't generally have it day to day, who are working and doing the fight to get to work dressed however their authenticity feels like being dressed. And so we really engage the audience. We have a panel being run by Brooklyn Boyhood that is in response to the Zanelli Maholi exhibit at Brooklyn Museum, and we have a number of activities that are going on that really explore what is queer style. This is what we're trying to engage everyone in. We're making it accessible to all, and like you said, allowing people to be in this space supported at the time and continue to feel supported outside of the event.
Now, I do have one question, and congratulations on making this event. I know it's already going to be a success, but what are some of the challenges that each of your groups face in promoting LGBTQ events and in the media and otherwise in person?
Well, I think for me it's challenging running a completely inclusive platform to make sure that we're getting all the voices and all the struggles, and not just in Western society, but in other parts of the world as well. For me, it's hard for people to understand that a lot of times queer fashion is a parody of how heteronormative society works. Yeah. And when you mentioned authenticity, it is this it's calling into question that notion of authenticity, being like gender is a performance and it can be played with and you can choose that for yourself.
Well, you know what? We're gonna have to take that as a little teaser because the 16th? 17th. I'll be there the night before on the 16th. No, but September 17th at the Brooklyn
6 o'clock.
Brooklyn Museum, 6 o'clock. Show up on time, people. Be there for 5
And dress to impress.
Yes.
All right, so we'll see you there. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.